What's up, Team Tack? This is Coach Matt. We got some trade tensions today. Oil is rallying, but not breaking out into that reversal. Still surging on some tariff updates. Moderna gets some approval here today. Campbell's earnings. But before we get into it, we got our second webinar in our virtual conference season coming up on June 9th. That is next Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you're looking to learn about technical analysis, trends, patterns, indicators, trades, the step method, learning how to enter, putting stop losses, targeting, you name it. We're going to do it all next week on June 9th in Master Trader with yours truly, and you can register for free in the link in the description below. Let's get into it and let's tackle today. And when you're looking at that first story about the tariff and the trade tensions and whatnot, a little bit of an update over the weekend as trade tensions are seemingly increasing between the two giants of the United States and China, as both accuse the other of breaking the agreement that was decided in Geneva just a month ago, with the U.S. basically accusing China of not shipping rare earth minerals, and China accusing the United States of expanding curb controls on chips. And so a little bit of daggers being thrown against both those two economic giants. Now, a lot of this is most likely in front of some conversations over the weekend. It was to be expected that Trump and Xi are going to be speaking this week. We'll see if that actually occurs, but that could go a long way to resolving the technical conversation here. When you're looking at the backdrop of the market, we're still kind of hesitating here on a Monday morning. As you can see, just a little bit of a slowing momentum candle here in the middle of the overall range between the S&P 500 that you're really tracking between that 200-day moving average right around 577 at this point, and the overhead right there at 595. I wrote in the newsletter this weekend, but this was a K-trade type of a setup with the edge to the bulls because they do have this short-term trend. We'll see if they can get that breakout. That's what we're talking about at Tackle all week long, is with the market both on the NASDAQ, the S&P 500. Can that rally? Can that break out? We'll wait and see on that. But that's what the technical situation is starting out this week. K-trade setup, navigating resistance breakouts is going to be the conversation this week. Let's talk about that second story very quickly, as crude oil is showing a little bit of giddy up and go action this morning as they do break back up, as OPEC decided to maintain output at 411,000 increased barrels. There were some anticipation that they were going to change that, but they did match it coming in match it for July based on the output that is being put out in May and June. The market saw that as a positive because the anticipation was they were going to increase supply, and so they are matching here. That showed a little bit of upward movement in price, but one thing technically here we've been talking about at Tackle Trading on crude oil is the 64 level of resistance. That 64 level of resistance is that end-all be-all reversal resistance level. You also got that 50-period moving average converging obviously underneath, and so that's a step in the right direction. But at the end of the day, you're looking for a confirmation breakout of that 64 level when you're looking at crude oil. And if that does that, energy is going to become a little bit more of a conversation. Story number 3 is all about the still tariffs. President Trump looked to increase it from 25% up to 50% in his speech he gave on Friday night. We're seeing the impact on the market here today. And so obviously this is going to be a little bit of an ongoing conversation, but as of today, Cleveland Cliffs up about 25% here today. US still obviously is in that Nippon Steel merger conversations. When you're looking at Nucor, you see a little bit of a gap up there as well. So from Steel Dynamics to Nucor to Cleveland Cliffs, you all saw big increases in price. What we didn't see is big increases in price followed by a giddy up and go action. Little bit of gap up and then hesitation here. Wouldn't be chasing these types of rally. Obviously, they're very sensitive on all different conversations regarding still right now. A little bit of stay away as they are a little bit too volatile. Moderna story number 4, and MRNA. I always get that one wrong a little bit. Moderna here rolls here today a little bit up about 1% after gaining FDA approval for its next generation COVID vaccine. We'll see if they can get a little bit of giddy up as they are trying to form up a little bit of a reversal. Looking that technically, that thing is just very, very, very low in comparison to where historically they have been. I have zero interest in Moderna, but at the end of the day, as a technician, I can't blame somebody for looking for some deep value against a technical reversal. But let's move on and let's talk a little bit about Campbell's earnings here today, as they do come out with a 10% beat against EPS. They came out with the revenue up 4% year over year, as they also came in with an official beat on the revenue side of the equation as well. However, they did guide towards the lower end of the guidance that came in at 295 by 305. It's kind of right in the middle towards the lower end of the range. So a reaffirming of guidance with a beat on EPS and a beat on revenue, not enough to get up and go here, but you are looking at a very low pricing here on Campbell's Soup. And what I mean by that is technically here, you're at a zone where you would expect some degree of reversal type situations. And so massive support right underneath the price. Keep an eye on that. And that's all we got for the morning action here today. Top 5 stories, trade tensions are certainly out there today. Oil's rallying, still surges. Moderna got some approval. Campbell's did beat on their earnings here today as well. And like I said, for the pro members today, what do we got? We got the Traders Lounge. It starts at 10 o'clock. That's Pacific. That's 1 o'clock Eastern. We are moving that up. The Traders Lounge is now going to be in Discord for the pro members. Every single day, we're going to be going through all the major news of the market, talking trades, talking setups, answering your questions, you name it. So come over to our Tackle Train Discord if you're a pro member and hang out with us in the Traders Lounge here later on today. And then the last thing is we always want to take a look at old Coach Frank's setup here. And he's looking at Canadian Pacific here, and he's looking at a nice little high base with a potential breakout there for the top trade ideas for the morning action. That's it. And once again, sign up for Master Trader coming up on June 9th. And with that said, I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their day.